During a family dinner, my grandfather asked, "Jake, how's the car I gifted you for your birthday last year?" I was taken aback and replied, "I never got a car." The room fell silent and my parents' faces turned pale. That's when the truth unraveled. My name is Jake, I'm 23, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the son my family seemed to wish didn't exist. It's not a tale of outright abandonment or physical harm. It's something subtler, yet more painful. It's the story of a family that decided I was insignificant. My parents, Sarah and Robert, made it clear who their favorite was. My younger sister, Madison, 2 years my junior, was the darling of the household. She got the best Christmas gifts, designer clothes, and endless praise for even average school grades. Meanwhile, I could bring home a first-place award from the Math Olympiad and get a dismissive, "That's nice, Jake, but don't let it go to your head." I grew up under a constant shadow of comparison. "Look how warm Madison is," my mother would say when I tried to show affection. "See how lively and charming she is," my father would add when I attempted a joke or shared a story. It was as if I were a flawed version of the child they truly wanted. When I graduated high school with a 9.2 GPA and got accepted into 3 universities, my parents barely acknowledged it. "College is costly, Jake," my mother said, not even glancing up from the TV. "Besides, Madison will need our support when her time comes. She's got a bright future." At 18, while Madison received a shiny new laptop for college prep, I started working at an electronics shop in the local mall. It wasn't my dream, but it paid enough to keep me afloat. I stocked shelves, assisted customers, and occasionally earned extra commissions from good sales. The work was exhausting, especially on busy weekends when the mall was packed. I'd come home with sore feet and chapped hands from handling inventory, but there was pride in it. I was carving out my own path without relying on anyone. Meanwhile, Madison lived like royalty. At 20, she'd never worked a day in her life. She spent her time at the gym, dining at upscale restaurants with friends, and always had money for whatever she desired. My parents excused it, saying she was preparing for her career and too young to worry about finances. I couldn't help but wonder where all the money came from. My father was an accountant at a small firm, and my mother gave part-time English lessons. Their income didn't seem enough to support the lifestyle they maintained, especially Madison's lavish spending. The answer came when I was 19. My paternal grandfather, William, called me. He'd always been different from my parents. When I was a kid, he'd take me fishing by the river near his home, teach me to repair bikes in his garage, and listen intently when I shared my dreams. "Jake, my boy," he said during that call, "I'm moving to Portugal for a job opportunity. I think it'll be a fresh start." I was sad but understood. He'd lost his wife 2 years prior and needed a change. "Don't worry," he added, "I'll keep supporting the family from there. I'll send money each month to help, especially for your studies. I want you to have the opportunities you deserve." After he moved, our household's finances noticeably improved. My parents stopped fretting over bills, Madison's wardrobe grew even flashier, and they even remodeled the kitchen. When I asked about Grandpa William's contributions, my mother said he sent money monthly for household expenses. I didn't press further. I had my job and was managing. Still, I wondered if some of that money was meant for me, as Grandpa had mentioned my education specifically. Contact with my grandfather became infrequent. He'd call occasionally, asking about my life, my job, and whether I needed anything. I always assured him I was fine, working and getting by. He sounded proud but concerned. "You're a remarkable young man, Jake," he'd say. "You've got a good heart and a drive few possess. Don't let anyone make you feel worthless." Those words carried me through tough days when I'd return home exhausted, only to hear my family belittle my dead-end, job, or lack of ambition. On my 23rd birthday, I came home from work to find a small supermarket cake with artificial frosting on the kitchen table. It wasn't much, but it was something. My parents and Madison sang "Happy Birthday" with the enthusiasm of a chore. "It's from Grandpa William," my mother said. "He wanted us to do something for you." I was touched. Despite being so far away, my grandfather remembered me. In the weeks that followed, I noticed my family's spending escalate. My mother bought a leather handbag worth more than my monthly pay. My father sported a pricey watch I'd seen in a mall display. Madison flaunted designer outfits and sneakers that cost a fortune. One day, I overheard my mother on the phone, planning a family trip. "It'll be just the 3 of us," she said, "a relaxing getaway." When I learned about the trip, I wasn't invited. "The room's only for 3, my father explained. "And you've got work, don't you?" They spent a week at a five-star beach resort, posting photos of gourmet meals and cocktails while I stayed home, working my usual shifts, wondering how they could afford it. Was Grandpa sending more money? Had he inherited something? I tried not to dwell on it, but the question lingered. The year dragged on. My routine was monotonous: work, home, repeat. I'd occasionally grab a drink with coworkers, but my social life was minimal. I couldn't afford my family's extravagant outings. Madison remained jobless, living her pampered life, while my parents treated me like an inconvenience. I kept pushing forward, trying to prove my worth, even if no one noticed. As my 24th birthday neared, I expected nothing special, maybe another cheap cake if that. But 3 days before the date, my phone rang. "Jake, my boy, how are you?" It was Grandpa William's warm voice when I hadn't heard in months. "I'm good, Grandpa, working hard." "Great," he said. "I've got news. I'm coming back to Brazil next week for your birthday. I've booked a table at the best restaurant in town. Invite your parents and Madison. It'll be a family celebration." My heart soared. I hadn't seen him in 3 years, and he was returning for me. I couldn't wait. When I told my family, their reaction was odd. My parents exchanged uneasy glances, and Madison was unusually quiet. "That's nice," my mother said, her voice strained. "It'll be good to see him." I didn't understand their discomfort. Grandpa was funding their lifestyle, so why weren't they excited? I brushed it off, too thrilled about his visit. The day arrived, and Grandpa William appeared at our door that afternoon, his familiar wide smile lighting up his face. He was thinner, his hair grayer, but his energy was as vibrant as ever. "My boy," he said, pulling me into a warm hug. "You're a grown man now." It was the kind of embrace that made me feel truly valued. My parents greeted him with forced smiles, and Madison barely looked up from her phone. "Let's celebrate, family," Grandpa said, clapping his hands. "I've reserved a table at Terrazzo Duvel." My jaw dropped. It was the town's most upscale restaurant, where a single dish cost more than my daily wages. On the way there, Grandpa bombarded me with questions about my job, my happiness, and my plans. It was the first time in years anyone showed genuine interest in me. "I'm so proud of you, Jake," he said, resting a hand on my shoulder. "Working since you were 18, standing on your own, that's real character." From the back seat, Madison muttered, "Working at a mall isn't exactly a big deal." My father chuckled, and my mother sighed. I ignored them, focusing on Grandpa's warmth. The restaurant was breathtaking, waiters in crisp uniforms, linen tablecloths, and crystal glasses glowing under candlelight. I felt out of place in my plain shirt and jeans, but Grandpa reassured me, "You look perfect, Jake. True class comes from within." The meal was extraordinary, each dish a masterpiece. Grandpa ordered fine wine and included me in every toast. For the first time, I felt celebrated. But my family's behavior was off. My parents were quiet and tense, and Madison stayed glued to her phone. When they spoke, it was to jab at me. "Another year at the mall, huh, Jake?" Madison said smugly. "When are you getting a real job?" My mother laughed. "Yeah, you should aim higher at your age." My face burned with anger and embarrassment, but Grandpa stepped in. "Aim higher? This young man's been working since 18 while others his age leech off their parents. That's not just ambition, it's integrity." The table grew tense. My parents looked away, and Madison finally put her phone down. Dessert arrived, a decadent tiramisu worth a week's worth of my lunches. Then Grandpa looked at me with a warm smile and asked, "By the way, Jake, how's the gift I sent for your last birthday?" I was confused. "The gift? Yes, your birthday present. Did you like it?" I thought of the cheap cake. "Oh, thanks for the cake, Grandpa. It was thoughtful." His smile vanished, replaced by a frown. "Cake? What cake? The one you asked them to get for my birthday," I said, a knot forming in my stomach. "Jake, I never asked for a cake," he said, glaring at my parents. "What's going on?" My mother tried to intervene. "Dad, there must be a mix-up." "No mix-up," Grandpa said firmly. "Jake, didn't you get the car I sent you?" The room spun. "Car? What car?" "The red Civic I bought and had delivered to your house for your birthday. Brand new with all the paperwork in your name." Silence engulfed the table. My parents were ashen, and Madison froze. I stammered, "I never got a car, Grandpa, just the cake." Grandpa's gaze turned icy as he looked at my parents. "Where," he said, his voice dangerously calm, "is the car I bought for my grandson?" My parents fumbled for excuses. My mother mentioned delivery issues. My father blamed the shipping company. But Grandpa wasn't fooled. He'd built a business from nothing and could spot a lie. "I want the truth," he said, slamming his hand on the table, making the glasses rattle. The restaurant's patrons glanced over, whispering, but I was too shocked to care. "A car, for me." My mother cracked. We sold it, she admitted, her voice shaking. Sold it, I yelled, unable to hold back. You sold my car, we needed the money, my father said. Things were tight and Madison needed what? I snapped. More designer clothes, more resort vacations. Grandpa was furious. You sold the gift I bought for Jake to fund Madison's luxuries. It was for the family, my mother insisted. We took that trip, bought necessities. Lies, I shouted. I wasn't on that trip, I never saw a penny, you spent it on yourselves. Grandpa stood, his voice trembling with rage. 32,000 reais, he said. That's what the car cost, money I saved in Portugal to give my grandson something meaningful. And you sold it for nonsense. The figure hit me like a punch. 32,000 reais, more than I'd earned in 2 years at the mall. Dad, please let us explain, my mother pleaded, but Grandpa cut her off. There's no explanation. You betrayed my trust and stole from my grandson, and I'm certain this isn't the first time. He turned to me, his eyes filled with sorrow. Jake, there's more. That car wasn't the only gift I sent. My heart stopped. What do you mean? For 3 years, I've sent money every month for you, for your education, your needs, so you could have a future. I trusted your parents to give it to you, but now I see you never got it. I stared at my parents, horrified. How much? I asked, my voice barely audible. 600 reais a month plus household expenses, Grandpa said. For 3 years. I calculated it, over 20,000 reais plus the car's 32,000. They'd stolen more than 50,000 reais from me. You're thieves, I said coldly. You stole from your own family. Madison spoke up. Jake, don't be dramatic. That money helped everyone. It helped you, I shot back. Your clothes, your sneakers, your trips. I worked like a dog while you lived like a queen with my money. Grandpa placed a hand on my shoulder. Jake, you're not staying in that house another day. Come with me to Portugal. You'll have the opportunities you deserve. I didn't hesitate. When now? Yes, he said. Let's get your things and head to the airport. My parents panicked. Dad, you can't mean this, my mother said. He's our son. Son, Grandpa scoffed. You've treated him like an outsider his whole life. You humiliated him, stole from him, and now you call him your son? He looked at me. The choice is yours, Jake. Stay here and be treated like dirt, or come with me for the life you deserve. I looked at my family. My parents' desperation wasn't about love, it was about losing Grandpa's money. Madison seemed stunned, realizing her pampered life might end. I'm going, I said, standing. There's nothing for me here. Grandpa smiled. Let's go, my boy, your new life begins now. We left the restaurant, leaving my family with the bill. As we walked to the car, I felt a weight lift off me. Grandpa, thank you for believing in me, I said. I always have, he replied. Now you'll see what a real family feels like. The trip to Portugal felt like a dream. Grandpa had booked first-class tickets, and for the first time I felt truly cared for. On the flight, he shared his plans. I run a consulting firm in Lisbon, he said. It started small but has grown. You'll work with me, learn the ropes. You've got a knack for this. When we arrived, his home, a mansion in a posh neighborhood with stunning city views, left me speechless. In the garage, he showed me a lineup of sports cars. Pick one, he said. The one meant for you is gone, but any of these can be yours. I chose a sleek red Porsche that took my breath away. Good taste, he laughed. The first days were surreal. My room was larger than my parents' living room, my closet filled with clothes Grandpa had ordered. Most importantly, I had respect. He valued my input at the company, treated me as an equal. The work was demanding but fulfilling, dealing with clients, analyzing data, using my potential. My salary was 10 times my mall job, and I finally had money to spend freely. But the real gift was belonging. Grandpa introduced me as my grandson, the future of the company, beaming with pride. My phone buzzed constantly with calls from Brazil, my parents and Madison. I ignored them. They'd stolen from me, belittled me, treated me like nothing. Now, without Grandpa's money, they wanted to talk. He'd cut them off the day we left. They made their choices, he said. Let them face the consequences. 6 months later, curiosity got the better of me. After a great day at work, I answered a call from my mother. Jake, please, she began, but I wasn't ready to forgive. My new life in Portugal, with a grandfather who believed in me, a job where I thrived, and a future full of possibilities, was all I needed. For the first time, I felt valued and I wasn't looking back. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you never miss any of our upcoming stories.